morning, everybody. Today I thought I'd do the Blackberry Cobbler. A little fruity sweet. Just like me this morning. 35? 35. There we go, 35. Exactly. Precisely. Now it's 1. Now. Damn it. Oh well. Maybe over the weekend I'll put the tree up. I don't know. We'll see. The snow should kind of linger. It's going to be cold enough, I think. It might start melting. I don't know if it's supposed to get above 32 or 33 this weekend. So, I mean, it may start to go away. Maybe tomorrow will be the day to do that for us. It's one of those Thursday things where I got everything out on Tuesday and Wednesday, and now it's like, oh, it's Thursday now. Wonderful. I did hang my picture up, finally. I found the contact strips that held 2 pounds, and I put 2 of them behind there. Or the contact hooks, the 3M ones, that held 2 pounds, and I put 3 of them behind it. So now it's setting up in the dining area. Because we don't have a room, we just have a central room. This is just the central room. Dining room there, chairs there, bathroom there, kitchen here, you know, so it's like, it's just one giant room. Which is modern. It's not, everything's walled off. Every room has a purpose. Every room has a designation. So it's just one of those things. I mean, this is gonna always be a kitchen island, you know, but that doesn't necessarily have to be the dining room. We can move the dining room table over next to the sliding glass door and move everything else over here in front of the window if we wanted to. So, I mean, it's one of those kind of things. Where am I going with this? I don't know. I kind of lost it. I don't know. It's fine. It's fine. Hi, buddy. Good morning. How are you doing? Is it good? Is it okay? Is it okay? Yes, good buddy. I know. This good kitty. This good kitty right here, isn't he? Yes. Here we go. Yeah, you get everything out of you on Monday and Tuesday, or Tuesday and Wednesday. And it's like, well, I guess Thursday's a free day. Not much to complain about. I mean, plenty to complain about. Not a whole lot that I want to talk about. Because this is morning coffee talk about, not complain about world events. I mean, maybe it should be. I don't know. I don't know if it should be or not. It's just, you know, a lot of this stuff is, I mean, it does creep. It does creep in every once in a while because it's just so visceral and asinine. But at the same time, you know, there's kind of a spirit to this thing. I mean, if I wanted to make a separate video post about current affairs and stuff like that, it's like I've been watching Return to Derry, or Welcome to Derry, I think, well, it's one of those things, but the new series on HBO. And people online, are complaining about it, of course. And they're saying that even Stephen King doesn't like the adaptation. And the reality of that is I don't think Stephen King has ever liked an adaptation, ever, of any of his books. All of his, and it's just so weird because there are some of them, some of them are very 80s, you know? So it's like trying to adapt that to something now can be very problematic, you know, even if you put a big warning on the front, this just depicts a time in the 80s when this was this way, you know, it's still very problematic. So a lot of people don't want to touch it, and the people that would want to touch it, you may not want that product in the end. So there's one person online, I remember I was just looking through stuff on Threads, just as you do, you know, some of the fun stuff that pops up. I get a lot of coffee stuff now. I get a lot of comic book stuff. I get a lot of Star Trek stuff. And then somebody was complaining about it And then I'm enjoying it, by the way. I think that it's very back and forth, they establish very early on that yes, these are characters, and yes, you may enjoy them, but at any point, they're gone. And this is about the journey, not the destination, because we all know how the destination goes, because there's an It movie, and there was an It miniseries, and there was an It movie, and it was a 2-part movie, and that's when it died, you know? I mean, not to spoil anything for anybody, even though the movie and the TV series have been out for a while now. The Tim Curry TV series, which I've watched several times because I like that miniseries. It's a really good adaptation, I think. And then the movie's really good too, even though they've kind of moved the timeline ahead, you know. I still really liked the movies. But the TV or the miniseries that's on now on HBO, you know how it's going to end. So there is just a journey that's happening that we are witnessing. We know what the ending is going to be. The journey is how are they getting to that ending, you know, and that's the enjoyment part. And some moron online said, and again, sorry, if this is spoilers for what it is, you know, weird, but at the same time, sorry. It is a space alien, but it's also not a space alien because I think in the mythology of that world, it is like a celestial being that was trapped by other celestial beings because it had run amok, and its prison just landed on like a primordial Earth and shattered open, where it limped for millennia, and then animals started to show up so it could eat the animals and gain strength back. And then, you know, but it was trapped on Earth basically because its prison was its trap, and when the prison shattered, it scattered the prison pieces all around a certain area. So the creature could not leave this area, which is why the Earth is not plagued by this creature. And it's a really good plot device because it's like, well, why hasn't it left Derry and, you know, gone all over the place? Well, number one, that's not how it's written. And number two, you know, here's the reason. Because it is stuck here because its prison is literally now part of the landscape, which I find absolutely fascinating. But it's, you know, it is for all purposes, it is an alien to Earth, even though it's older than Earth itself and was probably there when the Big Bang happened, along with the celestial turtle, which is a completely different thing. I wish they would get to the turtle, but I don't think any series based on it is ever going to get to the turtle because the turtle is fascinating. But he's like, when they made him an alien, it ruined it. And every sensible human being is like, it is an alien. It crash landed on Earth. Canonically, written by the man himself. You know, it is an alien that crash lands on Earth. It's in the miniseries like that, and it's in the movie like that. And his comeback was, well, I mean, it should just be a monster. You know, I know canonically it's an alien, but maybe if they rewrit it and did something different. And we're all like, if they rewrit it and did something different, it wouldn't be it. It would be a different horror movie. What is wrong with people? Continuing the Costco argument from yesterday, what is wrong with people? I mean, it was probably a rage bait. But it just seems so off the wall backwards because, and I think I read the book, but I have not read the book in such a long time that the majority of it is lost to me, but it is an alien. So that guy said, well, they shouldn't have made, when you turn into an alien, you know, it was stupid, and I hate it. I hate this. And so does Stephen King hates it too. And we're all like, Stephen King hates every adaptation to movies that, are made from his books. Maybe Maximum Overdrive, not so much, but I think that's due to cocaine. Yeah, it was just the most wild, backwards, dumb thing. Because it's like, when it made him an alien, it's horrible. I'm like, he is an alien. And it's just the kind of people you don't want to teach. Because he's there in the comments fighting back against everybody, saying, it's stupid. It's dumb. It should be, he's when they made him an alien, it's just fighting back. And he said, well, it shouldn't be. I know canonically, but it shouldn't be canonic like that. And it's like, you just block them because they're not there to learn. They're not there to discuss. They're just there to shit on your yard, point at it, and then walk off the yard. That's all they're there for. They're there to get their interactions. They're there to get their 450, excuse me. They're there to get their whoosy whatsits and their doozy doos, the likes and subscribes and all that happy horse shit, and then, walk away, and being ratioed, which is a thing where if you're in like a comment section, and that's, if anything online, like a message board type thing, has something where you can like a little heart or a little check mark or whatever, that's how many people like your post. A ratio is where your post gets smaller likes than the posts replying to it. So 80 likes for this one, 2,000 likes for the post to your post, refuting everything that you just said. That is a ratio. So, they're there, and getting ratioed just means you're still getting looks. People are still looking and people are commenting, which is exactly what the Threads and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok, all of those social media things, they're looking for looks. They're looking for comments. Are you getting commented on? They don't care if it's negative or positive. It's why they don't look. They don't look at the fact that you clicked on something to report it and block it. They look at the fact that you clicked on it. Their interaction with the algorithm stops when you click on the post. Even if it's to report it and block it, now you are going to start seeing more of that trickle in. So a lot of times it's not even worth clicking on it to report it, because you're just going to start seeing more of it. And I don't want to see conservative nonsense in my fucking posts. I mean, I could sit there for days blocking shit, stuff I don't even interact with. It just pops up on my feed and I'm like, I don't want this. Who wants this? This is stupid. And you could just do that for like days. Just sit there clicking, no. And it's probably the same person 20 times that you're blocking. You've seen probably a couple of memes where there are guys or women or, other who are, looking at a big giant phone bank, and they're looking for comments and likes and anything with key phrases in it, and then they use one of the many phones that have different profiles on it to reply to that. And people pay the people that run those banks, the people that are actually doing the work, more than likely have been tricked by answering a want ad for a better life and a better job in a different area or even a different country, and they show up and they're indebted to the people that have imported them and given them their visa, and now they have to work at one of these phone banks for 16, 17, 18 hours a day, and it's bad. That's the person that you're interacting with may not even know what the hell they're interacting to. They may just be there with a script. This is how you reply to this. So, I mean, and that's trying not to put the fault on the people that are making the comments. Now, there are some generally incredibly dumb people in this country. A lot. a frightening amount in some instances of dumb people in this country who, actually think that it should not be like it is in the book. It should be something completely different in a completely different movie thing. Hi, lady. How are you? Oh, Indy's out of the bed. I don't know if you saw that or not. What's going on? That's a sock, by the way. I don't know if it matters or not. Hey, lady. Hi, buddy. He was just in there making noises. I don't know why. He can't. I'm washing the top sheet or top cover for the bed, so he can't get up on the bed like he wants to. That might be part of the problem. I don't know. He likes to sleep on the bed when everybody gets off the bed. So I guess a 60 might be a little bit too fine for this because, the drawdown on it was around 8 minutes long to get to the very bottom. That might be a little too much. Yeah. I was watching people who were making coffee, prepare their own coffee in a commercial like yesterday. It's the first time I'd really ever seen anything like that pop up, where the people that were like, we roast this coffee and here's the coffee that we roast, rather than it just being barrels of coffee being churned, and raw coffee being poured into barrels and all of this stuff. I was actually watching them make a cup of coffee with the coffee that they create and then pour out the coffee. And I'm like, that looks like a medium roast. And then it came out looking like golden, not tea, but maybe a little bit darker than a normal like tea with a tea bag. And I'm like, am I grinding my beans way too fine? And I think the answer to that is yes, especially with an 8-minute drawdown with a bloom. 8-minute drawdown with a bloom on 450 milliliters of water. Are we playing? I guess we're playing. Is that what we're doing? It's okay. You guys can play. Don't look at me like I'm yelling at you. I'm not yelling at you. What is she doing? Is she peeking around the corner? I think my extraction on pour over coffees is way too high, and I need to back down, especially with the bone stuff. I need to back down maybe like 15 whole steps to like below 70 here for a grind size, because I think I've just gotten way too overzealous, and I've been doing way too much trying to get a nice fine grind in espressos, manual espressos, that I'm just neglecting proper grind size when it comes to pour overs, because this is mud, brownie-like, and I think brownie-like is not ideal for this. Now, if it were a light roast, I could probably handle something maybe that fine, but this is more of a medium roasted, so I think I'm just going too fine now with my grind setting, which is not good. So I'm getting a lot more extraction, which can lead to bitter coffee. Not enough extraction just leads to brown water, to tan water. You get a perfect extraction, everything comes together and everything tastes really good. But then if you get way too much being extracted through the coffee, you get less flavor and more bitter, the bitter part of the coffee that you kind of want to leave behind. There's like this weird balance that you watch people navigate on instructional videos. There's this weird balance, and it changes with coffee. It may not change like 5 full settings or even 10 full settings between coffees, but it does change per coffees, where you find that sweet spot in a grind and in a drawdown time and that kind of a thing. I would say an 8-minute drawdown is way too long for 450 milliliters of coffee. I would say that's probably should be around 3 minutes for a full cup of coffee. Next week we'll try to play with grind settings I've got those light roasts up there. We can play with those with grind settings to see if I can get a nice 3-minute drawdown. In the Chemex again, because I know that there was a point where I was doing it fine and I remember it being like 3-4 minutes. Since I've got this and have been enjoying the hell out of it, I have been neglecting watching my filter coffee settings. So next week we'll give that a work and we'll see what happens. I didn't have anything to talk about, and then I remembered I'm watching Welcome to Derry, and then I had something to talk about. It's nice how everything works out. Yeah, it's a good series. It takes some twists and turns. We're getting to the point now that as a person who has read history, I saw coming. I saw all of this joy and elation from minority characters. I'm like, oh no, these people have finally gotten to a place where they can be happy and enjoy themselves. It's time for white people to screw it up. And there it is. So, and you kind of saw what was coming. If you know, like I said, if you read your history, if you're able to think in a way that you can, like, you know, kind of work out stuff like that, social cues and writing and direction and stuff like that, and you know, you can kind of see the minute the black airmen got a speakeasy. I guess it's not a speakeasy. It's more of a juke joint, a bar. They were having problems on base with the accommodations that they were getting, as even though they are in Maine. I think Maine was one of the worst northern states when it came to segregation and the rights of black and minority individuals. I'm pretty sure. It's why it's like the focus of a lot of racial stories. But they got this place, and because the one black airman furthered the plot for the base commander, so he got a little sway. So he's like, can we get better accommodations, because where we are staying right now, the tent's full of holes and no one is helping us, and it was raining. So they were able to get them in this place. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is now swinging. This is now, everybody's smiling, everybody's happy, everything is right with this. So here comes the white people, and on cue, the seedy, dimly lit bar, which is a striking contrast to the well-lit, happy music blaring, well, not just music, live music blaring, juke joint that they've got going on there. It's all the white people in the dimly lit bar full of smoke, and they're all just sitting there plotting. They look like all of them look like they're sitting there plotting something. And it's like, oh God, and like I said, when the moment he said, General, I would like to get something for my fellow airmen so that we can be more comfortable than not comfortable at all. And, you know, the minute he said that and the request was granted, I'm like, here comes that plot point. So next episode, which comes out Sunday, I'm foreseeing a lot of tragedy. And it's going to turn me off of the series, because it's like, why? I mean, it's it. And like I said in the beginning, you know how this is going to end. You know how the journey ends, because because that leads into the book. This leads into the book. So the book still exists. So we know how this story ends. The problem now is the journey, which we don't know about, on getting to this ending. And, you know, the world building that they're doing, and I think it's fantastic. If you get a chance, you should totally watch it. I mean, if you're into horror, if you're into surprises, shocks, gore, is pretty gory in some spots. The color tinge that they put on it, because it's set just as the Cuban Missile Crisis was starting to happen. Maybe that was before the Korean War or during. My history is vague. But yeah, it was just as the Bay of Pigs was starting to take shape, because they mentioned Cuban Missile Crisis. Not by Cuban Missile Crisis name, but they mentioned they're moving missiles too. So that's during this whole thing, and yeah, so it's really good. It's a wonderful little piece of history, I think, even with all of the sci-fi horror elements in it. And like I said, it's tinged in such a way, the color palette is tinged in such a way, it's almost not as bad as like a vivid, say like a giallo, from Italian giallo movie, where it's just slashers and blood, and the blood is not just red, it's like tomato soup red, and it's not runny, it splatters, it's just that's the other side of the extreme, I think. I mean, other than it being black and white, I think it handles that really well. I like the tinge of color grade. So anyway, I've gone on too long about it. I could go on more, because they have a damn podcast that you can watch after you watch that episode of it, and I'm like, that is the most ridiculous thing. And I'm so glad it seemed like Star Trek, because Star Trek was doing that after Discovery episodes. They were doing, here's the companion podcast. I'm like, no. Can I just watch the show? I don't need a companion podcast. And at the beginning of every episode, there's a big thing that says, after watching this, go watch the companion podcast to this. And I'm like, I don't really want a giant hug love fest at the end of my horror melodrama, where I'm watching this poor little girl sink deeper and deeper and deeper into insanity. And then I'm going to watch another little girl just fall into horror. There's a lot of kid punishment in the movie. There's a lot of children facing psychological trauma. Some that enter the movie with it, and some that have it develop during the movie. And it's just, you feel really bad for kids. Adults make their own, but kids shouldn't have to go through that kind of a thing. But I think that's kind of the point. That's kind of the thing that hits the visceral part of your brain. It's like, kids shouldn't be going through this, but I'm watching these kids go through this, and it's absolutely horrifying. So go watch it. It's great. From the first episode, it's like, whoa. And then it kind of slows down a little bit. It's got pacing episodes that always feature something, but I think they're done really well. I think the actors are fantastic. I think there are a couple of instances where I went like, I don't know, but it wasn't enough to take me out of the enjoyment and the horror and the disgust that I was having with a lot of the things that were happening. So anyway, sorry. This Welcome to the Derry podcast, your Derry cast, lactose free. Maybe that's what I'll title it: Morning Coffee Lactose Free Dairy Cast. Is that enough of a warning for people? I tried not to make it spoilery, but it's really hard because there are so many things that you just want to talk about. It's really, it's definitely a really interesting modern take on a monster movie sci-fi formula. I like it. Have a great weekend. We'll see you later. Bye.